Good morning. It's Wednesday morning. We get to go to church tonight. Of course, I was at church last night because we did the podcast. uh, Another beautiful sunny day uh, here in Happyville. I have the clicker, the mouse in my hand, and I'm not sure what it's going to do for my phone. I'm just, distracted, I guess. But I have leftover mac and cheese for breakfast, and so my belly's full. And it made me very happy for what it's worth. I hope you had a good breakfast. Something to carry you through the day. Sustenance. We're in chapter 24 of Isaiah. This has a past fulfillment, which I believe at the that goes all the way back to Genesis 1. This has a near fulfillment in Babylon, the invasion of Babylon, of Judah, and a final fulfillment during the Great Tribulation. Because we talk about the world, the whole world, then we talk about Israel, just Israel, then we talk about the world, the whole world. The world, the whole world, oh my. The world, the whole world, the whole wide world. It's got the whole world. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth, all of it. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. Now, these next two verses, he's talking about the land. He's talking about local catastrophe, the land of Judah. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest. Remember, this is the deal that affects everybody. Big and short, fat and skinny, all of us. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest. As with the servant, so with the master. Good morning, Susie. As with the maid, so with her witness, her mistress. As with the buyer, so with the seller. As with the lender, so with the borrower. As with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. And the land, Israel, shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord has spoken this word. Now that came to pass in the Babylonian invasion. Now these things also that we're going to discuss past that, they talk about the whole world, and there was things that happened in the whole world, but now he's just talking about the invasion of Babylon upon Judah. But then you'll see how it expands to a broader context. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord has spoken this word. Now that's the invasion of Babylon. Now it goes back to the earth. The earth, verse 4, mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. They didn't languish and fall away just because Judah was taken captive, just because Jerusalem was destroyed, just because the temple was burnt to the ground. The whole world didn't languish over that, you see. We're talking about a time when the whole world is going to be shaken, where the whole world is going to be empty, where the whole world is going to be turned upside down. That is called the day of the Lord, the great and terrible day of the Lord. For his wrath is come, and who can stand it? They'll cast their idols in the caves, back into the caves, to the bats and the moles. They'll hide themselves in the clefts of the rock and beg them to fall upon them to protect them from the wrath of God. That's coming. This is the time that's talking about. Gayla Davis, good to see you this morning. And Charlie, good old Charlie. So it's the whole world. We go from the land to the world, as we talked about yesterday. I'm going to expand upon that today. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the world do languish. Elon Musk, Vladimir Putin, Macron, Zuckerberg, all of them, all of the rich and the powerful and the mighty, Trump and all his friends, all these European rulers, all of these sultans sitting on oil fields, all of the would-be Democrats and would-be dictators of the Balkans and the former Soviet republics, the gangster in charge of China, all of them, the haughty people of the world, all of them, all the ones who decide for the rest of us, all of us who decide who we don't get to decide who to fight, we don't get to decide who to bomb, we don't get to decide, who gets help and who doesn't. We don't get to decide anything. They, smart people, and higher ups. The Bible calls them the haughty people of the earth do languish. I'd like to see them languish. It's like the old slave in the Civil War. Sherman went through South Carolina and cleaned their crop, plowed their corn for good. The South would never rise again. And they were giving out land and mules to former slaves before Congress stopped them. Sherman promised them 40 acres and a mule. So did Lincoln, but as soon as Lincoln was killed, well, the people in Congress put a halt to that. So, well, we don't mind having these black people free, but we're not going to give them a mule. But anyway, so the plantation owners were broke and standing in the road. And here was this black, as the story goes, in one of the history books about General Sherman. And plantation owner was standing there, and one of his former slaves is working his little patch of ground with a mule, plowing it with a double shovel plow. And he looks over there and he says, hey, massa. He said, bottom rail on top now. See, that's going to happen to all of us one day. God will destroy all of the haughty people of the world. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Good morning, Pastor Haroon. You see, one day the bottom rail will be on top. Jesus said the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are the hungry, for they shall be filled. Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness. God is going to come and change things. That's part of what the Great Tribulation is about, to destroy the last influence of Satan on the earth. There won't be any haughty people anymore, because Christ will not permit it. He alone is worthy of praise. Give glory to his name. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. And the haughty people of the earth do languish. Now come on. When the bad guy in the movie gets his come up, but you always cheer. Well, there'll be a day when you'll cheer for this too. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws. Forget about the laws of God. We've been transgressing them for a long time. How about the laws of man? We're trampling on the laws of men. We're trampling on our own laws. We're making up laws as we go along. Who needs a Congress to pass a law? Let's just make up a law. You know, that's what they did in Russia and Hungary and China. Why not? Why not here? The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws and changed the ordinance. Did you ever read Animal Farm? It was a great allegorical novel by George Orwell, the author of 1984. He wrote that the animals on the farm, they were tired of being mistreated. They were tired of being sold at auction. yeah, yeah. But Gayla, every married man know that they're a woman doesn't. It's not that she is inconsistent, or not that she changes laws or anything. It's just she just changes her mind. She's not wrong. She's never wrong. She just changed her mind. Maybe maybe it's like that in your house. I don't know. And I've told Velda. She asked one day if she was in my way, because I was doing something, and she had taken her medicine and she stepped in front of me at the sink, and I think she was embarrassed by it, because we just started dealing with our illnesses. And she said, "Am I in your way?" And I said, "No, darling." I said, "A woman in her own house can never be in the way. It's her house. So how could she be in the way? It's impossible for a woman to be in the way in her own house." And I'm in it. Because I'm a man. I don't need a house. I could live in an 8 by 12 4-bedroom. I mean, all I need is a place to hang my hat, and a receptacle to plug in my charger. That's all I need. I don't even need a kitchen. I can eat down at the cafe. I just need a place to sleep and wash. That's all I need. And I would study in there. But a woman needs a home. She needs a house. She needs a place to be. That's why we work as hard as we do to make sure she's got one. It's part of the checklist, you know. Now, I know I'm speaking in general, and not all women are like that. I've known girls in my life who are just as nomadic as I am. But the point is, I just don't believe a woman can be in the way in her own house, because it's hers. That'd be like telling somebody telling you how to drive your own car. The earth mourneth and fadeth. The haughty people of the earth do languish. Yes, in a coffee pot. And the earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. And I began explaining this yesterday. The everlasting covenant. He's not talking about the covenant that God made with Israel, any of the several covenants: the Abrahamic covenant, the Mosaic covenant, the Davidic covenant. No, he's not talking about that, because he's not talking to Israel in these verses. He's only talking to Israel in verses 2 and 3. Right now, he's talking to the whole world, the whole earth. There's only one time that the whole earth is going to be judged and turned upside down. The whole earth, the whole world. And that is during the Great Tribulation, which is coming soon, because the rapture is near. I believe we're going home any day. What does he mean by the everlasting covenant? I began that because, first, the marriage covenant, that for this reason shall a man leave his father and mother, and cleave unto his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. They are no more twain, but one flesh. Therefore, what God hath joined together, let not man put asunder. The marriage covenant was part of the Adamic covenant, and the marriage covenant is still in effect. We have broken the marriage covenant. Now, life is messy, and people get divorced, and people have relationships, and they bust up, and they hook up with somebody else. I understand all this. But there comes a time in the Christian's life when he begins to obey God. And part of obeying God, men, is to love your wives as Christ loved the church. And if you love your wife, you will not cheat on her. You will not make her feel inferior. You will not hurt her. You will take care of her. You will provide for her. Men are commanded to love their wives. So you had 5 or 6 wives before, who cares? Be true to the wife you got now. God is less concerned with what happened in your life before you repented. Matter of fact, he's not concerned about that at all. He's concerned about from now on. And whether you just get saved today or you've been a Christian for 30 years, you can dig in your heels today and say, I will follow the Lord Jesus Christ, and I will do what he says. Twice we're commanded to love our wives, men. If you notice that a woman is never commanded to love her husband, have you ever wondered why that is? The reason is this: is if a man treats his wife as Christ will treat the church, if a man will love his wife as Christ loves the church, if a man will satisfy his wife in the same way he seeks to satisfy his own flesh and his own well-being, then it's automatic. His wife will love him. There are no exceptions. This is from the Lord, the covenant of marriage. That is one of the everlasting covenants that they're talking about here. And it applies not just to Israel, it applies to the whole world. It applies to everybody, anywhere, at any time on the face of the earth. The second everlasting covenant, which was made to the whole world, was the blood covenant. And it's part of the Noahic covenant, the covenant God made with Noah when he got off the ark. And God says that anybody who sheds blood of man must by man have his blood shed. In other words, if you kill somebody, you got to pay with your own life. God will not permit innocent blood to stand unavenged. And we've broken that everlasting covenant. So far this year, there have been over 400,000 abortions in the United States, most by medicinal. But it still kills the babies. That's innocent blood. God will not leave innocent blood. We've killed 1 million or more babies in this country since before abortion was illegal, or since before abortion was legal until it was sent back to the states. Between a long time before 1973 and Roe v. Wade, we were killing 1 million babies a year. And we still are. And many of my Christian and conservative friends are walking around and say, well, how did that happen? You know, if you outlaw something, it just makes people want to do it more. And people are wicked. Sin is sin. Do you remember in the story the account of the two angels that came to Sodom? And that Lot made them come into his house. And then the men of the town were beating on the door and wanted Lot to bring those men out. Then Lot said, "Take my daughters instead." And then the angels pulled him back inside, and they struck all them men blind that were trying to rape the two angels. And and then it says that they wearied themselves trying to find the door, even though they were blind. Even though they were stricken blind, they were still trying to fulfill their lust for sin. Even though God had made it nearly impossible for them to fulfill their sinful lust upon these two angels, or attempt to, they wouldn't have made it very far. One angel could have wiped out the whole town. One angel could probably wipe out a good-sized country. Yeah, they're tougher than a whole squad of Marines. Anyway, just like the men wearied themselves blind trying to find the door so they could get in to complete the cycle of lust, people today find a way to sin. During Prohibition, that's when organized crime really got going, and more people were drinking during Prohibition than they did before, because they didn't want to be told what to do. You see, we have sinful hearts. We have lust, and we're going to do everything we can to fulfill those lusts, whether or not it's against the law. And the current abortion statistics certainly prove that. We're still murdering our children, and we're doing it all over the world. And that is a violation of the blood covenant. God cannot leave innocent blood unavenged. He will avenge and repay for the spilling of innocent blood. That's part of the Noahic covenant, and that is the everlasting covenant to the whole world. See, there are two pieces of two everlasting covenants that are for the whole world: the marriage covenant and the prohibition of shedding innocent blood. It's universal. That's the everlasting covenant that God is speaking about here through Isaiah. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. And then it tells you why. Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance. Oh, okay. A man doesn't have to cleave to his wife. He can cleave to another man, or a woman to another woman, or two women to two women, or any combination thereof. Do you see where this goes? They changed the ordinance. They changed the law. They changed the ordinance. It was against the law to marry outside of a man and a woman. They changed the law. Now you can marry whoever you want to. You see how this applies? It's universal. It's still in effect. It's one of the reasons God is judging us now. The other everlasting covenant, they just changed the ordinance. You see, it was illegal to have an abortion, but abortions were happening. They made it legal for abortions, Abortion flourished. But it never went much over what it was already doing. It stayed at about 1 million a year for 60 plus years. In 2022, they changed the ordinance again and said that it's on a state-by-state basis, where it'd be legal, where it'd be illegal. And the same amount of abortions are being done at the same rate. They changed the ordinance, it didn't make any difference, because of the evil is in the heart. The shedding of innocent blood is against an everlasting covenant. Marriage between anything other than a man and a woman is against the everlasting covenant. I have a lot of people hate me, and people hate me too. But I have a lot of people hate me because I say things like that, but that's what the Bible said. I'm just telling you the truth. It's like Harry Truman. They said, "Did you give him hell, Harry?" And he says, "I don't give them hell. I just tell them the truth and they think they're in hell." So that's what happens when you hear the truth and you're living against the truth. You think you're in hell when you hear the truth. That is why most people run from the word of the Lord. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws and changed the ordinance and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, verse 6, hath the curse devoured the earth. The curse devoured the earth. What did Malachi promise? That if you didn't listen to the messenger that was coming, it said in chapter 4 of Malachi, the last book of the Old Testament, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. That's us. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord. It's the great and terrible day of the Lord, the 7 years great tribulation, ending in the battle of Armageddon and the establishment of Christ's kingdom on the earth. The day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. Ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet. See, you're going to get your deserved reward, and the wicked are going to get their deserved punishment. In the day that I shall do this, saith the Lord of hosts, remember ye the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments. Behold, I send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Well, John came in the spirit of Elijah. He turned the heart of the fathers to the children, but not enough of them, and the heart of the children to the fathers, but not enough of them. And the world rejected Jesus Christ, the King of glory, the King of Israel. Israel rejected their king. They said, Hosanna, Hosanna to the Son of David. And then a few days later, they said, crucify him, the same crowd. lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. And he did, destroyed Jerusalem, dispersed them for 1900 years. But they're back in the land now. And this prophecy is alive once again because the day of the Lord is coming soon. You can obey now or be smitten with a curse later. I tell you that the curse is already upon us. We are being judged in the United States right now. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. This is talking about the tribulation. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Between 1/2 and 2/3 of the entire population of the world will be killed during the Great Tribulation. Billions of people. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, and all the merry-hearted do sigh. The crops are gone. There's no wine. Everybody used to be happy, sad. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, and the joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with the song, and strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Now it comes back from the worldwide great tribulation. It comes back to talking about Jerusalem. The city, verse 10, the city of confusion is broken down. The city of confusion. Jerusalem under siege for 3 years. King Zedekiah running. The Chaldean army breaking the gates and the walls and capturing the king and taking him to Riblah and killing him. And taking him, putting out his eyes and taking him to Babylon in chains. Killing his sons and putting out his eyes. That happened in 586 BC. We're talking about the city of Jerusalem now. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up and no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets. No wine to hand out. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone because they've gone into captivity. The ones that were not killed. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. Isaiah wrote this roughly 130 years before it happened. And it happened just like that. God bless you, Katie. It's good to see you. So the city is left with destruction. The city is left desolate. The gate is smitten with destruction. Now, this is a good stopping place because we're going to talk about the Jewish remnant. And this remnant applies partially to the return from Babylon 70 years later. And it applies mostly to the Great Tribulation, the time of hell on earth when Satan will rule. You know, there's going to come a time when God is going to say to Satan, the devil, he can say, okay, look, Buster, you've been wanting to run things, since before time. So here's your chance. You just go ahead and do what you want to do. And that's how God pours his wrath out upon the earth, by letting the devil do what he wants to do. It's a big part of it. There will be no light in the world because the church will be in heaven. And the people who get saved during the Great Tribulation, which will be many, there'll be a great harvest. But they won't be able to be public about it. And when they are, they'll get their heads cut off. So we're going to talk about the Jewish remnant next, and then afterward, the Great Tribulation again for several days. Yeah, if you thought the Great Tribulation was just a few verses in Matthew 24 and in the book of Revelation, a few chapters, well, it's through the whole Bible. It's everywhere. The eternal plan of God is spilled out through all of these books. That's why I'm always going back to Genesis or Deuteronomy or to another prophet, to the Psalms, because it all talks about it. It's like Jesus told the Pharisees, who were saying that he was an imposter, saying that he was a crook, saying that he was a charlatan. And he says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. This is chapter 5 of the Gospel of John. And they are they which testify of me. Now you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from them, but I know you that you have not the love of God in you. Good morning, Adam. I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. He's talking about the Antichrist, who will come during the Great Tribulation. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that cometh from God only? Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? That's what we're going to be talking about. The Jewish remnant and the Great Tribulation. We'll still be in chapter 24 tomorrow. God love you.